You know, they always gotta do something right when I set up the live stream. Right when I set up the live stream, there was a plane flying over. Just all of a sudden, there's a plane that came out of nowhere and just flew over. And then they've just been making all these sounds out in the parking lot with trucks beeping. Like right when I started to set up the live stream, I heard a truck. It was just like boop. And then like right when I'm about to go live, there's a plane flying over. And like there's just all these trucks driving around out there making engine sounds. And then there's my neighbors going through the walls. And then there's people walking around the hallway. And like all this stuff just happened in the last like few minutes that I just mentioned. It just keeps happening all day, every day. If I just sit in here, they're just constantly making sounds. It would be quiet occasionally for a little while, but then they'll start making more sounds. There'll be a garbage truck pulling up, or there'll be some other type of sound. It's all day until late at night. Then there's less sounds, like less frequently. They still make sounds late at night. They drive sirens out late at night. All this stuff late at night. All day and all night. From the moment I wake up until the moment I go to sleep. And even in my sleep, syncing up with gangstalkers in my dreams, they're still making sounds even while I'm asleep. It's pretty much just all day and all night. They're just making sounds. There's a cop driving by outside right now. They're just always making all these sound effects in their dumbass MK Ultra game that they play. On the MK Box 360 gaming system. The 1984 gaming system. They play it every day, all day, like a bunch of gameaholics. And I hear one in the hallway right now. Bunch of LARPaholics. They can't stop LARPing. They have to make a sound or something. They just can't stop. But the sirens have died down the past few days, and like they do that, like they'll just like there'll be less sirens for like days at a time, and then there'll be more sirens again for days at a time. I guess like if I get too used to the sirens and they gotta pull the sirens back a little bit, do a few less sirens per day, and then they hit me with more sirens per day again, I guess. And they do the same thing with planes and stuff. Like things just come and go and like get less frequent. But like, but I'm still hearing sirens though. They're just like a couple of them per day. But like last week, it was like 5 of them per day or whatever. last few weeks. But yesterday, was it yesterday's video where the ambulance drove behind me and then a cop drove in front of me with his siren? That was pretty crazy. So they'll occasionally do stuff like that, but like, I've only been hearing a couple of sirens per day lately. And it seems like there's less train horns too, but I still hear the train horn a lot. I still hear both of those things every day, synced up every time I hear it. But it's been a lot of cars honking synced today and every day lately. Then now when I start recording, there's like they're making a bunch of sounds outside before I was recording, and now they're not. It just always seems to happen like that. Usually when I go live, they stop making sounds for a while, and then they'll probably come back before I stop recording, but just making less sounds. And then this morning they were making a bunch of construction sounds before I was recording. And then it seemed like they stopped when I started recording. I don't know. They always do things like that though. But like I came outside this morning and I walk across the street, and right when I get across the street, they're like turning on some construction thing. I don't know what it was. Some construction machine that was making a really loud sound right when I got across the street. And then I get to the other street and there's another construction noise at another place, like different people. And then I was just hearing all these construction noises, and then I started recording and they went away. Probably because I started recording. And then the one that I did, the Stalker Bowl Sunday video, there was like not a lot of stalkers on that. There were like, it was less of them, you know, than usual, and less of them than it would have been if I wasn't recording probably. Because after I turned the camera off, they just all came out again. It was just a bunch of white cars coming out right after I turned the camera off. But they were like hiding the whole video. Like not really hiding, but like there was less of them than I expected. And they were kind of driving by unsynced a little bit, but they were all stalker cars though, but they were kind of missing all the places where they were driving by it. They weren't perfectly synced up, but then after I turned the camera off, they were perfectly synced up, and they were all a bunch of white cars too. And it was like all a bunch of random color cars when I was recording. It's like they just hide and then they come out after I turn the camera off sometimes. They just do different things when I turn the camera on sometimes. Like those, like there'll be a bunch of them around me, and then I'll turn the camera on, and then they'll just like pause for a second. Like there just won't be any for like the first minute of the video or something. or they'll be doing just really low key things compared to what they were doing right before I started recording. They were just all in my face blatantly. But then, like, sometimes they don't do that when I start recording. I don't know. It was weird. That's all I can say is they're just weird. I think they just do weird things to be weird because they're weirdos, and that's it. They just do weird things because they're weird. So that's the best explanation. What's up? My refrigerator just turned off synced. Did you hear it? Did you hear my refrigerator turn off synced again? As it always is every time I go live. And every time I don't go live. Every time I hear it turn on or off, whether I'm live or not live. But when I go live, you can hear it too. Did you hear it? I heard it. It was synced. I heard it. It was synced. Just like my neighbor making sounds through the walls right now. That was synced too. It's all synced. Everything is synced except me. Everything is synced. All the cars on the street outside right now are synced. As always. I'm just gonna keep the live video running because they're not making sounds outside now, so I like it. So I'm just gonna keep going live and just not say anything and just enjoy the silence because they're just not making a whole bunch of sounds out there right now. Now that I started going live, I like it. I'm gonna take a moment of silence, appreciate it. You hear the silence. This is nice. They just made some type of noise out there, I think. The machine outside my apartment window keeps turning on and off sinks, as usual. That kept happening just now, as usual. This white truck driving out right now, right next to me, and a white SUV on the street, and another white SUV on the street, syncing up with the white SUV on the street. And then there's someone getting out of another white SUV in the parking lot as the white truck gets up to the street that was pulling out right next to me. And then there's this guy on a scooter in the background that looked synced with the white SUV. He just rode by on a scooter really fast. And he looked synced with this white SUV. And then this white SUV is syncing with a white truck and a white car. And there's 1,000 gangstalkers, white and tan and all type of color cars. And there's just an engine sound right now when I walk through that doorway. They're always syncing up sounds with me walking through that doorway. And they make the subtle engine sounds, faraway engine sounds, and the close by engine sounds that are really loud. And everything in between. And I'll hear a car hit their lock button, and then I'll hear another car hit their lock button right after that car. And it'll be at a synced moment. And then maybe they'll hit their lock button 1,000 more times. But right now, I don't hear a bunch of lock buttons and trucks beeping and engine sounds. So that's good. That's, oh, I just heard a car honk out there. I don't know. I don't know about that one. But that's good. I don't hear a bunch of that right now. I see a lot of them right now. I see them. A lot of them. But if I just sit over here, I don't hear them. I don't hear them. So if I just sit over here, and if I just don't go outside and I just sit here and stare at the wall, I won't have to worry about it until they start making noises again. Until someone walks out in the hallway in about now or sometime really soon. I'm gonna hear a truck engine at the same time that my water heater turns on, or something like that. I'm gonna hear a truck engine at the same time that I hear a train horn or something. But right now, nothing. Then my water heater just turned on, like right when I went like that. My water heater clicked on. Like it clicked right there, and I was like, is that my water heater? And then it started to turn on. I was like, it was my water heater. It clicked on synced. Fuck you, water heater. Thank you for keeping my water heated, but fuck you for gang stalking me every time you turn on and off, though. That shit's retarded. Stop. Stop doing that. He won't stop. He doesn't listen. None of them listen. And if I ask my water heater why he's gang stalking me, he's not gonna know what I'm talking about. Number one, because he's a water heater and he doesn't know English. But if he did, he would just gaslight me. He would just pilot light me. Like a fucking gaslighting water heater bitch. Stalker bot. I see two white stalkers right now. There's a white stalker coming into the parking lot with a white van. And he's gonna park right as another stalker drives out or something. He parks right as a white car drives out. And then it syncs with a tan car. And then it's gonna sync with another car. There's a engine sound right after it goes around the corner. Here's another tan car. Yo, go watch the video I just did on Instagram today, right? At the start of it, there was like 4 tan cars meeting each other at the corners of the intersection. That was crazy. How they just all pulled up, perfectly coincidentally synced at the corners of the intersection with like 4 or 5 tan cars. Like, I'll maybe make a short of that because that was crazy. It was just someone's walking out the door right now. Right as I walk by my door. It was just a tan car, and then it met another tan car at the corner of the intersection, and then it drives across the intersection and meets another tan car at the corner of the intersection, and then it drives across the intersection and meets another tan car at the corner of the intersection. As I walk up to the intersection, this is happening with 4 tan cars. I don't know what type of schizophrenia that is, but it's some type of magical schizophrenia to make 4 tan cars meet each other right at the corners of the intersection. What schizophrenia is that? There's people walking in the hallway right now, right when I turn back around. They're just out there talking to each other, the 2 gangstalkers. And then he goes back in the door after he came out of the door when I walked by my door. What type of schizophrenia makes 4 tan cars meet each other at the intersection right as I walk up to it? Can anybody tell me what specific type of schizophrenia this is? Because this is some unheard of type of schizophrenia that I've ever heard of. Because how can schizophrenia make 4 tan cars meet each other perfectly at the corners of the intersection right as I walk up to it? Because I look back at the video and there's still tan cars and they're still meeting each other at the corners of the intersection when I walk up to it. So how does this happen schizophrenically if I'm a schizophrenic? How does this work? I need a psychologist to talk to about this. Because that doesn't seem like schizophrenia to me, but maybe it's some type of special schizophrenia. Maybe I'm like an anomaly in the schizophrenic community. I just invented a new type of schizophrenia. Maybe that's what it is. Because they tell me, they just insist that it's schizophrenia. They just insist upon it. As if it's absolutely 100% fact that it's schizophrenia. But yet, there's 4 tan cars meeting each other at the corners of the intersection right when I walk up to the intersection. And things like this are happening at every intersection. Somehow that makes me schizophrenic, according to people on the internet
and people that I talk to that have a red shirt on every time I see them and walking by me at crosswalks or whatever the fuck. People that are meeting me synced up every time I see them will tell me that I'm a schizophrenic and then still be meeting me synced up every time I see them. And then they don't think it's weird that they're meeting me synced up every time I see them. But they're calling me a schizophrenic though, but then they still keep meeting me synced up every time I see them. But then they don't notice that they're synced up every time I see them. Only I notice it, but they are synced up every time I see them though. And then they're gonna be synced up again the next time I see them. And then they get mad that I point out that they're synced up, but then they're synced up again the next time I see them though. Why are you mad that I'm saying you're synced up, but then you keep syncing up though? Because I'm schizophrenic? Something's not adding up here. Like I'm trying to see what they're saying. I'm trying to see it from their point of view. But from my point of view, it just still looks like stalkers. Always. That's just my opinion. It just looks a lot like stalkers. Like all these cars I'm seeing out my window right now, they all look like stalkers to me. Because they're driving by very schizophrenically right now. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And then the next time I look out the window, it's going to be schizophrenic again. There's this loud engine coming. Is it a motorcycle? Is he gonna drive out? Or is he just making sync sound effects? What type of schizo skits are they gonna do? And then that white car that pulled up in the parking lot is still just sitting there. That one from 10 minutes ago or whatever. He's still just sitting there with his lights on. And just sitting there in the parking lot. I don't know if they're picking someone up over there, they're waiting for him. Or if they're just sitting there in their parking lot. Are they smoking a joint out there or something? I don't know. They're just sitting there in the parking lot though, after pulling up synced in a white car. like quiet in here a lot of the time, except the engine sounds occasionally and then the tapping noises and all that shit. But like compared to outside, it's quiet in here. And it's like I don't feel like going outside a lot of time because there's stalkers out there, but I love going outside and being outside and getting sunlight. So it's like, I don't know, I'm like starting to not like being outside. It's a connection back. When I go outside, there's just all these cars constantly driving by me and loud cars constantly coming and driving by me and making loud engine sounds in the distance and all of the sound effects they make and the hammering sounds and everything. Children screaming and shit. Like, it's more of that when I go outside, and it's just nonstop too. And it's just really psychotic. Like, really, really psycho. That every time I go outside, there's just all these engine sounds and sounds around me synced up the entire time I'm outside. Unless it's really late at night. It's just really psycho. But don't let them make you hate outside, though. Still go outside, get some sunlight, get some chemtrail air, breathe in that fresh chemtrail air, get some sunlight. Because everybody needs to go outside. But it's a mind fuck every time I go outside, though. And then these two black trucks just synced up when I walked up. And the white car is still sitting in the parking lot. And it's like 50% chemtrail out here. And it's like 100% bots on the street. And right now there's red car syncing with white car, and then it's gonna sync with this light just turned on this building right when it drove around the corner. I don't know if that was synced with it, but probably. Probably was. You hear that? Yeah, neighbors just always making sync sounds, laughing synced, and coughing synced, and blowing his nose synced, and talking synced. Just always doing those things synced. And then I don't hear sounds any other time through the walls. I just hear sync sounds through the walls from all directions around me. That's it. Rarely ever will I hear unsynced sounds through the walls. It's all sync sounds. 98% of the time. If they're just talking on the phone to somebody, they're doing it synced. They're getting louder synced, or like walking over by the wall and talking synced, or starting the conversation synced, or coughing synced, or blowing their nose synced, or tapping synced, or doing some other thing synced, or walking out in the hall synced, or slamming a door synced, or turning on their sink synced. I'm not exaggerating. It's every time I hear sounds through the walls, it's synced. Every time I hear a vacuum cleaner turn on, it's synced. Every time they test the fire alarm that's right outside of my door, it's synced. Every time I hear people outside my apartment yelling or laughing, it's synced. Every time I hear dumpsters slamming or garbage truck or a truck unloading, it's synced. Every time I hear a car hit their lock button, it's synced. Every time I hear a car alarm, it's synced. Every time I hear a car horn, it's synced. Every time I hear a siren, it's synced. Every time I hear a plane, it's usually synced. And then this white car that I was talking about, he's still sitting there with his lights on. How long has he been sitting there now? Like a half hour at least? He's just sitting there with his lights on. He's gonna need a jump start soon. Or some gas. One of the two. He's just sitting there in the white van with his lights on. And there's just a bunch of other stalkers out there. Synced. Synced. Everything is synced. Everyone except me is synced. Everyone except me is synced. I get electronic harassment? Yes. I get this ringing in my ears all the time. And I get that all the time. It's not like, I don't think it's every day, but it's almost every day. And sometimes it's multiple times per day. And sometimes it's just like one time per day. It seems like it's every day, but then it seems like maybe some days it doesn't happen. I don't really like keep track like that, but like, and then sometimes it's more intense than other times. But it's just like this ringing in my ears, and it just feels like they're radiating my brains. It doesn't hurt, but it feels like weird. Like there's something going into my ear hole. Feels like they're raping my ear hole with an electronic weapon of some kind. Some type of frequency machine. But I don't get the radiation burns and the pains like other people talk about. So that's good, I guess. It's still in your head. Is it? Or is it in your head? Schizophrenic? No. High frequency electronic warfare? Yes. Wait, you just said it's in my head though. What are you talking about? I thought it was schizophrenia. Now you're saying it's not? I think the white car's lights finally turned off. They finally got out, I think. Good for them. Did they have a red shirt too? Did they have their children with them too? Paranoia? No way. See, now you're getting it. I'm glad you finally came around. A huge orchestrated, synchronized gang stalking? Yes. See? I told you, bro. That's what I've been saying the whole time. Finally get it. Good for you, man. Proud of you. Oh yeah, but then on that Instagram video I did today too, there's this guy that was hitting his lock button like 3 times. And I was like, he hit his lock button 3 times or whatever. And then right after I said that, he turned around and they unlocked the car again and like got something out of it or pretended to or whatever. And then he locks it again like 2 times or whatever. And then I was like, is there gonna be another red car or something as they walk by me? But then when he walked by me, he hit his lock button again right as he walked by me. That happened on that Instagram video today. I might make a short of that too. Cause why are people always hitting their lock button after it's already locked? And then he just does it right as he walks by me. Why do you do that? Was it my schizophrenia again? Yep. They're always slamming doors and making their cars beep with the lock button. Always. All day. Every day. All the time. Noise harassment or the sounds of neighbors? Yes. Talk to a doctor, both of you, get medicated. I thought you said it was gang stalking though. Now you're back to saying it's schizophrenia? Pick a side. Fucking fence rider. Pick a side, bro. Yeah, I need to see Doctor Strange or something. Because I just keep seeing coincidental things happen that are actually happening that aren't in my head. So I think it's some type of interdimensional thing. I need to see Doctor Strange about it or something. The regular doctor is not gonna know how to stop 4 tan cars meeting each other at the corners of the intersection as I walk up to it. It's some type of magical schizophrenia. It's not regular schizophrenia. If it is, it's not. Read what I said. It sounds stupid what you were saying. If you think hundreds of people gang stalked you, you're absolutely insane. You are the saint, you Fruit Loop. But they do though. I don't think it when they do. It's like I look outside and I don't think that there's clouds in the sky. I know that there is because they're right there outside my window. So I know that there's synchronized cars driving by because they're right there on the video. You know? I don't know if the trolls are actually trying to convince me of anything or if they're just trying to convince other people watching. I just think it's hilarious how they just keep going. Like the same people keep coming in and like trying to convince me that I'm schizophrenic. But there's no way that they're trying to actually convince me, and if they are, they're fucking stupid. Like, they're just wasting their time, they're just wasting their whole life. Now what's he saying? Is he still saying I'm a schizophrenic? Hold on. Let me see what he's saying. Hold on, hold on. Mental illness if one person or stalking by thousands? It's a public channel. I do what I want. You both know you need meds. Get help. Have a good night. Alright, later, Vladimir. Is that the real Vladimir Putin? Or a different one? Wait, the white car's lights are still on, I think, unless they turn back on. I don't know if I couldn't see them on over there, if they were like behind this other car, but they're on now again. And he's just sitting there again. And maybe he's had his lights on the entire time. I don't know. These gang stalkers are crazy, man. There's a lot of them. A lot of black and silver cars right now. Alright, later, bro. Then someone was asking me if I see drones. I see them sometimes. I don't see them every night, but I do see them sometimes. And it's like sometimes they'll be farther away, like it'll just look like a star, but then it'll be moving around. And sometimes they're closer and really obvious that it's a drone. But I haven't really seen any of those lately, I don't think. But maybe I'll see one tonight just because I was talking about the drones. Maybe I'm going to start seeing more drones all of a sudden now just because I was talking about the drones. Maybe I'll start seeing more drones. Just like I was talking about U-turns on one of my videos like last week, and then I started seeing more U-turns. Never know, maybe I'll start seeing more drones, maybe I won't. There has been a lot of jets flying over me lately though, like high in the sky. Stalking me with jets. Which I guess are military jets. I would assume. And then I've also been seeing lots of people with their dogs hanging out the windows lately. And then I've been seeing a lot of motorcycles the last couple days because it's warming up outside. So I've been seeing a lot of motorcycle stalkers, which like every time I see a motorcycle, it's a stalker, pretty much. Pretty much every time. So now that the weather's warming up, I'm going to start seeing a bunch of motorcycle stalkers. I'm going to see a bunch of insects flying up in my face at intersections. Moths and butterflies and all different types of bugs. Flies. There's this fly in my apartment building that keeps meeting me at the doorway when I walk outside. Just always flying up, greeting me at the doorway when I walk out the front door of the building. And then last summer, there was a bunch of flies inside of my apartment. They just buzzed by my face, synced. I synced moments all day. And then I'm trying to swat them all day, but they keep hiding. Then I finally swat them and kill them. But then there's another fly the next day in my apartment, and it's syncing up every time it flies by me. Or it's just buzzing in my ear first thing in the morning or whatever. It's when I'm laying in bed, it just comes and buzzes in my ear, synced up. Or it just comes and flies right in front of my face, synced up. All day, every day. And then I kill it, and then there's another one the next day. That just kept happening last summer. Flies in my apartment. And then there's this other bug in my apartment last summer that was like flying up, attacking me a bunch of times, like getting all in my face, trying to attack me. Some type of moth bug. Looked like a moth, but it was like a killer moth. It was like a moth that knew karate or something. He just kept flying up and karate kicking me. Synced up. He kept doing it synced up. And then was just like straight up attacking me. And then I tried to kill that bug, but he just like disappeared. And then he never came back again, for all I know. He just went and hid somewhere. They took him back to the CIA lab or something. But yeah, since the weather's warming up, is what I'm saying. There's gonna be bugs syncing up. All summer. until it starts to freeze again. There's gonna be bugs sinking up on me. Every time I go outside. Because everything is bugged, even the bugs. Everything and everyone, including their 90-year-old grandma. She's walking up with a walker out of a white car as I walk by it. Everyone and their grandma and their children and their infant children and their dogs and their cats and the birds in the trees outside and the squirrels are all bugged and synced up. Except me and all the other TIs watching this right now. All 300 Spartans of us are the only ones left on Earth. We're the last ones left. But vote for Illcat, yo. That's all I can say is just vote for Illcat. Everything's gonna change once you vote for Illcat. So vote for Illcat.